This is the big MJ debate. I'm Pez Jax,
And I'm Char McLachlan.
and you're invited to our New Year's Eve celebration, where we
Woo!
have we have drink, which is a first for us on this channel. Usually, we are sipping quietly on cups of tea, but we thought we'll ramp it up for the occasion. And we also have some special friends who will be dropping in to chat on what's been going on in Michael's world throughout the whole year and what to look forward to in 2025.
How exciting. We also should probably take this time to say thank you so much to everyone who has supported us this year with your subscriptions, whether it was a like on the channel, a like on a post, a comment on a video, or just your view. We are really, really appreciative of you taking the time to watch and interact with us, and we really hope to continue to make content that you guys enjoy.
Yes, and we do have a lot of things planned. I know we've had a few little dips this year. Just we was obviously away in doing convention in LA, so some of the things we had planned, and then obviously we, as people know, we had that whole batch of content that we shot almost a year ago
Yeah,
that we were unfortunately not able to use. We've also had a change in brand and a change in personnel, so it's been a for us personally, it's been quite a roller coaster year with Big
definitely.
MJ debate and our views on it and how we've approached it.
We've had to have a lot of chats about the direction that we'd like this channel to go in, and obviously we had to really reassess um, where we were going to take it because like anything, any major change kind of makes you take a step back and go, "Oh my God, what are we going to do now?" And even though we had quite a good idea, it did take us a while to get into the swing of it, just being us two. But I think we pulled
I hope so. I mean,
it
I would say that people are warm to us, or at least I hope they are. Or maybe they hate
off.
us and they just want
Good.
it to be like, look at that pair.
There they go again.
But I think we've definitely found our groove and um also have been able to, between the two of us, maintain conversation, which is probably the most important thing for a debate
Oof.
channel. But what I've really loved this year about the channel as well is that we've been able to open it up and have like lots of different faces come through to join us in conversation. We've had Melanie, who unfortunately hasn't made it into one of our episodes yet, just because
I
children
know.
we had to ditch. Carolina came in,
Yes.
who has an incredible dry humor. A friend of the show, as I always call her, Eve, who I absolutely love. And then we had our MJ the Musical roundtable.
Yeah, there was loads of them. We
Lots of,
had
we've had Seb has joined
we
us.
had Seb, we had Connie in for the Netflix special.
Yes, we did.
But it's been so fun to welcome so many people onto the show, and we hope that more of you would like to become part of it next year.
And I think that's what it was always missing was that we kind of, when we initially set up the channel and we started with our ideas on how we wanted it to be, it was very much about a conversation with friends, a group of
Definitely.
a small group of us talking and sharing thoughts and opinions. And then over time, we realized that actually it'd be nice to kind of have some opinions outside of the echo chamber and
Hmm.
diversify a little bit and get more voices.
Yeah.
And I think that most came into sort of my understanding when we did when we did the musical episode and we had such vast opinions because obviously we've not been
Yeah.
to musical and there were people that loved it, there were people that didn't like it, and it's like you really kind of see this melting pot of all these different opinions, and it was nice
Yeah.
to actually be able to have that than just a small group of us kind of going, yeah, I agree, yeah, me too, yeah, me too, and that was kind of
Yeah.
cool.
We really enjoyed welcoming guests onto here, and also just I love that when people are not afraid to be like, "No, you're wrong." I love it. So more of that next year, I would hope.
But also, we should probably mention that we got to do our first, as a duo, we got to do our first live in LA,
Oh
sitting on a
my
stage, and
God.
we discussed the biopic. And we actually had Ashley Tave join us, who
Yeah.
is one of the stunt women from the biopic. And her granddad was one of Michael's security detail in the Thriller and Bad era. So that was a huge moment for us to be able to discuss the biopic with the fans in the US, and also a very scary moment as well.
So scary, so scary. I think both of us were terrified, but equally excited to have have got the channel to a point where that's even something people are interested in. It was absolutely amazing to be so far from home and have people say that they watch us. um, it was really really well received, and I enjoyed doing it.
But this is why, I mean, like, this is why I love doing this with you, because when I came to you and I was like, right, changing schedule, we're on in 10 minutes because the guests haven't turned up yet and all the rest of it. And you were just like, okay, cool. And I knew you were nervous because we'd obviously discussed it. I was nervous.
It was so
And
scary.
it was kind of like, we just thought, sod it. And there is that whole thing where you kind of sit in a chair, and as long as you sit like this, you look relaxed, even if you're not. And we were both like, literally swinging off the back of the chairs.
I don't know if they could sense how nervous we
There was
were,
blood in the water.
but we definitely were. But they made it very easy for us, and people were really involved in the conversation. And if you were there and you were watching us and you took part in that, thank you, because it really did make it less scary for us.
It did, and it was such a relief to kind of have you by my side as well to be
It
like.
it felt like an achievement, I've got to say.
But things I've loved, like I loved coming to see you in Glasgow,
Woo!
and
That was fun.
putting out a little episode on that I thought was fun because that was so spontaneous. We hadn't even planned to film, and
Literally.
it was just like, oh, I'm in Glasgow. We should probably like catch up for the episode and stuff, and that was a really nice episode and well received. Um, I loved the round table we discussed.
Yeah, that was fun.
Um, and I loved doing the greatest night in pop because it gave us something new to talk about.
I loved that. I mean, I loved getting to LA. I thought like there's still a lot of footage for that for you guys to see it. But
Yes,
I loved that we got there, and you and Seb and Sarah and Carolina and everyone that was there made it so special for me. Like that was my first time in America. I had dreamed about going to those sorts of places, and we had such an amazing time. It was such an amazing trip, and you really did make that. So thank you
oh, thank
for
you.
for
Cheers.
doing that. Cheers to
We're
that.
working through these bottles.
Us and the Uber app against the world.
Oh, and like all good parties, there is somebody at the door. Who is it, Char? Let them in.
It's Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. Welcome to our MJ New Year's Eve party where we are doing a full rundown of the year that's just gone, toasting Michael, having drinks, slagging each other off, and just being all out obnoxious because what else could we be if not a little obnoxious? So,
So Sarah, I met you for the first time this year, which is crazy because I
Yeah,
literally do not
yeah,
know how we've not properly met before. But we met in LA. We went all the way there to meet.
random.
So, what did you think of convention abroad?
Well, I really enjoyed it. It was a completely different experience to my experience of London, obviously. But yeah, it was just as good an event and just as interactive an event, and MJ just central event. I thought it was brilliant myself going in.
How do you think the American fans compare to the European fans?
And I don't mean in a particularly negative way, but I did find that they were perhaps a little bit more reserved at the party side anyway
Hmm.
in the evening. Didn't seem sort of like stood around chatting type of thing,
Yeah.
whereas obviously London very much drink and party
I
dance.
wonder if that's a drinking culture thing though, because
Yeah,
obviously we that's the side of it that we didn't know going out there, and we were asking a lot of people, what's the drinking culture like? Because obviously we see films and we see TV series, but we never
Yeah.
actually know what the culture's like. And
yeah,
I think by the time the party starts in the UK, the Brits and the Europeans are usually half cut by the
They're
time
all tanked up.
they've been started at like midday. Whereas I think whereas the US lot kind of took a lot more warming up. I guess as well it's because we've been doing it so long over here. People know what to expect and they know us and they're comfortable with us and all the rest of it. Whereas out there, it's kind of like, who the hell is this lot coming over here? And like,
I
so
did find like sitting, like waiting for everything to sort of kick off, as it were. I was sort of wandering around because I was on my own, sort of at that point, and it was, oh, what's going on? What's going on next? What's going on? And I was sort of like, oh yeah, we're just waiting for that. So, oh, do you know what's happening? Like, well, I think we're just waiting for something to, they'll tell us when it's time to go. You don't need to worry. It's all, it's all in hand. Oh, we're running a bit late, all that kind
yeah,
of thing.
and to be fair, it wasn't all in hand at that point. It was we had we had two nightmares. Like the day ran fine in the end. It was the two issues at the beginning where we had a massive tech issue that we just could not get to work. And that was just like the clock was ticking, and I was like, I had like 4 laptops, and I'm plugging cables in, and all the rest of it. Eventually, got it to work into some capacity. And the second one was we were meant to start at like 12:30 with the first panel, which was Daryl Saida.
I'm triggered.
It was like Daryl Saida and Dorian were meant to be first panel. And then so we said to the guests for the first 2 panels, make sure you're here at like 12, just so that we've got time. And another thing that we weren't aware of is traffic in LA is just like nothing else in the world. For the love of God, invest in public transport, please. I beg, especially.
Don't say that. Don't say that, because I said that and I got my head bitten off by an Uber driver.
but for the Olympics, I beg, please. So all of our guests, it got to 12:30 and there was nobody there. And that kind of threw us through a loop as well, that we were kind of like, okay, well, we're going to have to just improvise. So we moved some of the panel stuff around, but
I think just on the drink thing, I remember all of us sitting, I think we were in House of Cocoa. I've been back for over a month and I still don't know how to say the name of the place right. But we were sitting in the convention venue, which we loved. But I remember, and it was like a Saturday night or Sunday or something, and we were looking around and we realised that we were the only group drinking at that time.
Yes, it was me, you, and Sarah. We're literally standing in a circle of 3 drinking, being like, no one else is drinking anymore.
I don't know if it's because, and I don't know if it's because in America they all smoke more.
Do they?
Yeah, because you can't smoke and drink together. I mean, that's what I've heard. But like, do you know what I mean? But I think if they're smoking, so they're not going to drink.
Yeah, true. I mean, I just remember thinking like, are we done in terms of like the bar? And then I looked and I was like, no, they're still open. Oh, it's just us. We just don't know when to stop. Apparently.
I kind of didn't feel like I had even get started, and I was thinking, oh God, we're going to be a mile out at this party.
But with the party though, there was like there was a lady called, I believe her name online is Lady Jackson, with the light up shoes. She
was cool. She was cool.
She fucking slayed the dangerous routine. I have it on video. I might try and chuck a clip in, but like when that came on, sorry, God.
I was just gonna say there was like a duo of ladies.
Yeah, with the thriller, like socks and shoes and
they were like, I must say, the Americans, like costume outfits.
Yeah.
A lot of them went all out. Like they really, really came through with stuff like that.
And you remember the lady that was dressed as the Egyptian?
Yes.
Yeah. What was funny is well, it's not really funny, but we was at Forest Lawn the next day and we saw her, but she said my name. She went Pez, and I just looked. I was like, "Who's that?" But because she'd had a wig on for the whole day, I didn't know her.
She said to me, she was like, "I was the Egyptian last night." I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, you were. Sarah, can we talk about your T-shirt, because that's the T-shirt you had at convention, and I love it. Where did you get it?
My friend got it for me. I don't know where she bought it from, but she ordered it and sent it to me. Especially for convention, because she knew I was coming out. Aww. She made sure I got it before. But I don't know where she ordered it from. I'll have to find out. think it's not like an official one or anything. It's bootleg or whatever.
As if Karen would let us have something so alternative.
Sarah, I have a question for you in terms of, because obviously, like, before we all met in LA, you had known Pez and Seb, but you didn't know any of us, and for kind of, you travelled out there alone and you were staying alone and stuff. So how, if someone had said to you, "Oh, I'm thinking that potentially if there was ever another US event again, I would love to go, but I'm kind of worried about being myself or not having anyone," like, what would you say to them?
From my point of view, me coming over and doing what I did, it was a challenge to myself to do it, because it was something I wanted to do, go to America again, go to LA, the other stuff I wanted, and King Venture was just kind of like the reason to do that. And I think to anybody I think it's just, it's something you really want to do, and it's worth don't get me wrong, I was scared to death flying alone. I had to get from Doncaster to London, from London to LA, from LA to downtown LA, and then find out where the hell I was and where I needed to be. And like, it was a completely different world. Like, where the hell have I come? But it was a really amazing experience for me. As so obviously, like, for me, the last few years have been I've sort of sectioned off from a lot of MJ stuff, and just for my own personal reasons. And it was kind of like a way of me to just go, you know what, just go out there, be myself, do what I want to do, be with the people I want to be with, people who are on the same wavelength, and obviously see you guys, because I love you guys anyway. And it was just kind of like, yeah, I think anyone, just do it. I think
Yeah,
you'll only regret it if you don't. Same for anything
absolutely.
like in London. If you do London again and you live in, you know,
Glasgow.
Europe or Glasgow, you know, try and go on a plane and do it, because at the end of the day, you'll meet people. Like, I was there for the most of the event, because obviously you guys were working and doing the thing. I was there as a attendee. I'm talking to people, met people from all, you know, not just Americans. There was a Spanish lady I spoke to, Iranian lady, some people from different parts of America who travelled across the country as well, which was just almost as long a flight, you know, half as far as
Absolutely,
what I had
yeah.
to travel. So you talk to people, get to talking to people, ask where you're from. I was taking loads of people's pictures out in front of the mural thing. They're like, "Oh, can you take my picture? Can you take my picture?" And you just get chatting to people, and
Yeah,
I think
you
that's the
don't
best thing about it.
you don't feel like you're by
You're not
yourself.
on your own.
Yeah.
No, you're not on your own. And
But I do love that about being part of the MJ community. You know, it comes with its great moments and it comes with its downsides. And I think we've all had our fair share of both. But I do, you know, people are going to be like, Pez, shut the fuck up with this quote. But I mention it so many times about when Michael says in Private Home Movies, when it's his birthday and they get the date wrong on the screen, but who's remembering that? And he says, you know, I realized in that moment I was millions of miles away from home, and I realized I've got family all around the world. And that, ever since he said that, that's always stuck with me at every event I go to, at
Yeah.
every fan thing. You know, even if it's talking to people online or engaging with people at an event, I just feel like, you know, I really have got like friends all around the world because of him.
Yeah.
And when I go to convention, I have no choice but to go. But when I'm there and I'm talking to people and we're hugging and doing photos, like you say, it's like it makes me realize, oh my God, like I've made friends all around the world because of my interest in him. And I really don't think there's any other fan group that can say that because, you know, a lot
Yeah.
of other artists have big fan communities and all the rest of it, but they don't travel. They don't. Well, maybe they do. Maybe I got this entirely wrong, but I've never heard of like. God, you can't say anybody now about someone
No,
going.
I don't think I know what you mean. I don't think there's any other fan base. There's no fans as dedicated. There's no fans as loyal as Michael's fans. Honestly, I say that, and I really, really believe it. And I will say just on this as well, even people who weren't attending conventions, the Americans seem to just fucking love Michael. Like wherever we went, people were like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
I love your Michael Jackson t-shirt. Love this." You don't get
yeah.
that in Britain.
No,
Fuck, fuck
lots
you
of
all.
positive. Yeah.
Well, I get it in Essex now. Now I live in Essex. Everybody loves Michael in Essex. I don't know what. why that's the thing, but Michael's a huge deal in Essex, so I'm
Oh,
lapping
what
it
the
up.
hell? Well, I don't get that in Glasgow, certainly.
I came out of the station the other week and there was a lady with a bad tour t-shirt like at the
Oh my
crossing and I was the
god.
other side. I had a Michael t-shirt under my hoodie and I'm like trying to yank my hoodie out. And she must have thought, why is this girl trying to flash me? But I was kind of being like, no, look,
Yeah, no,
I'm the
like I'm
same as
part of this.
you. And she's probably like, get this guy away from me. Um, Sarah, who was your, like, if you had to pick a highlight for special guests at King Mention this year, who would you say was your highlight?
I think probably I found is it Rob and go on,
Nick.
what's the other guy? Nick, that's it. I'm rubbish with names. I really enjoyed their talk about ghosts and all sort of like the that I love to hear all those sort of little stories that because I wasn't at the when they were in London, so I've not really heard anything from them before, and I love ghosts. Ghosts is one of my favourite things ever. Um, so to sort of hear those little stories and behind the scenes stuff that really like minuscule, minute, you know, details and stuff that you don't really hear from other people and different things. So that was probably one of, for me, I found that was the most interesting. I was quite engaged with. Um, and the smooth criminal panel, Elif was lovely. I liked Elif.
Yeah.
And again, sort of just to hear sort of different people's interactions with Michael in those sort of circumstances and not the ones we all know already and have heard 1,000 times. So yeah, that was probably.
I love that about like I'm glad you love a leaf because I'm sure we'll be seeing her again soon. But it's like, and then it's like yeah, shut up, Hez. But it was so nice to have Rob back because obviously Rob did our first Kingvention in 2015, so
Yeah.
Kingvention turns 10 next year, which is crazy. Like when I think about it, Charlotte, yes, you are officially the only person that's been to every single convention ever organized.
I feel
Uh,
like well, apart from you guys, but as you say, you've had no choice. But that's an achievement. New bio.
Yeah, it is. But it was so nice to see Rob again after, almost 10 years. And I think what was nice about connecting with him again is that, he really took a chance on us. They all did in the first couple of years of doing
Yeah.
convention. Everybody took a chance on us because they didn't know who we were. They were like, what is this? You're going to bring me to London. Do I trust you? And now we're in a fortunate position where people contact us and say, can I come? If you could kind of sum up, I know you sort of already covered it, but if you could sum up LA or London, which would you pick? It's like Sophie's choice. And I'm
No,
not going to be offended either way, but I am going to hold this drink.
the screen. I don't know because they were completely different, even though it's the same similar type of event with very different vibe. Like
I agree.
like there are parts of London that I sometimes find a bit overwhelming because it's a lot busier. There's a lot more people, and for my own sort of have to have a break sometimes and like step away. Whereas I found like the LA because it was a slightly smaller venue, not as many people. It was a bit less overwhelming in that way. How we were sort of sat out rather than it being in a theatre, sort of felt like well you were a bit closer to everything going on. But I probably would say London just because I can go to London.
Yeah, exactly. It is
LA
it is
it was
strange.
a special event. It was a big thing, and I loved it. But if you did it again, I'd probably go again. It's just
It is strange, like when because obviously this year I did the hosting, and usually we have a host in London, and we have a bigger team in London, and we didn't have that in LA. So I had to kind of host and do the interviews, which was
Yeah.
really nerve-wracking for me because
yeah.
most people who already know me well enough know I absolutely hate being on stage. It's a common misconception that I love the spotlight, apparently, but I really don't. But
I've
I hate
always
it.
thought that about you.
I'm such a narcissistic prick. Um, but I absolutely hate being on stage. So it was really daunting for me to kind of stand up there and look out. And the only face I knew in the audience was you. Like I knew one or two other people from sort of over the years online, but in terms of the only person I knew well was you. And so it was having you there was actually very comforting for me to know that there was somebody in the audience that I knew, because it is scary,
Yeah.
because people don't know what to expect, so they're kind of looking at you like, what's the line?
With the Americans, they were a lot more kind of like, well, come on then, show me what you've got, rather
Yeah.
than being excited, like, it was sort of like a bit more like.
But it did change towards the end. Like by the time we got into the flow, it was off.
It was a lot better, but at first it was kind of a bit like, oh.
On the US and UK comparisons, I think people in the UK, they just love a day out. They just love a day where they can go and just drink all day or do whatever they like. And I feel like in the UK, everybody's like, "Oh, we're here for a jolly," whereas I think the Americans, and it's not in a bad way, but I think like we see it all the time. The UK humor is different to the US. I think Americans are actually on the surface a lot friendlier than Brits are.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I would agree that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Whereas I think Brits are a lot more reserved, but two totally different experiences as well. And I think actually a lot of the time, Americans don't have like a level of almost social reserve that Brits do. Americans love everything and they love it loudly, and if they're a fan everywhere they go. Whereas we kind of like reserve almost our passion for when we're around like-minded people.
Do you think as well that there is I guess I'm speaking totally like I don't know if this is true, but in the UK, obviously now we have the musical and whatnot, but before that we don't have a lot of Michael things in the UK. So Convention as a kind of isolated event gives people like their Michael thing for the year. For some people it's for the year. Whereas in LA, obviously you were staying at a hotel that was directly opposite where they filmed Stranger in Moscow. And you step out of your building and you're there, and we would drive to the venue and we would pass like places that he'd been or places that he'd filmed or done a photo shoot. So maybe when Michael is all around you, there is kind of when you go there, well, what is it that you're going to give me that's new? Like I need something else because I've got Michael everywhere. So if I'm coming here for the day, I need you to give me something else. So I hope we achieve that. If we didn't, then I'm sure I'll learn about it the hard way. And as well to be able to do the Michael hotspots together as well. Like because I know Sarah, you've obviously been, I've been in the past, Charlotte hadn't been, but to be able to do those together. And there were so many things that felt like fate as well. Like when we couldn't get Lisa Marie's handprints, and then we went back and we managed to get them.
Yeah. That was cool.
That was after I was about to take that tour guide out. Can you move your umbrella? No. Why not? Because I can't. I was like
there were so many experiences that I'm so glad that we had, and I'm so glad, Sarah, that you did conquer those fears and come along, because you were such an important and fun part of that trip, and I'm so glad you were there.
Yeah, me too. When you said I'm coming, I was like, oh my god, like you were the first to say I'm coming. And it was great. And I think I know you've spoken about what a big moment it was for you to get out there, but how much it meant to us as well to know that you would come and support us out there is huge. And that's why you're at this New Year's Eve party. So cheers to the new year.
Cheers to the new year, and cheers to you, Sarah, and your wicked sing along tonight, which I'm extremely jealous of.
I know. Have a wonderful time, and thank you for dropping in to our call.
Yeah.
Go on, Pez. Get it. Wow.
Real highlight, I think, now that I've had time to look back on it and stuff, was getting to Forest Lawn. That is something that I have thought about, and that nothing could have really, I think, prepared me for how I felt when I was there, but I have had an amazing sense of peace since being there, and I feel like if I could have done absolutely nothing else, that was so important. So I'm so glad.
This is the part of the party where you're kind of sat in a corner on a sofa with
This is like 4 a.m. and you're thinking,
you're
right,
crying and like,
chat
oh my god. But I agree with you, and it's interesting because when we went to Forest Lawn this time in October, I had been in 2018 when I went to the US and we got married in the US, and we went to Forest Lawn. And that was the first time I'd been. It was very emotional, and this time I felt very differently about it. And I do think it really gives a sense of closure when you get to go and you get to speak to him and feel close and a connection to him. If that's your sort of thing. For some people, that's not their sort of thing, and I get. But for me, I always found that going there really helped heal a lot of things for me and feel closure and closeness to him. And I think when we went as a group, seeing the reaction of the group individually as it kind of went off and had our own time, I felt very much like the feeling was the same, that it's a sense of like comfort and closure at the same time.
Definitely.
So that was nice to be able to do that. I mean, I honestly though, I didn't think we'd be sat here a year later being like, oh, we've been to Forest Lawn together, we've seen MJ1 together.
No, we really, and it wasn't all really planned and thought out, but hopefully this time next year we're saying even more stuff like that.
Yes,
and be like, oh,
I
can't
hope
believe
so.
we did this, can't believe we did that. Like, we are definitely, it's getting better and better, definitely. And I think we should just continue to make the positive strides that we're making, and who knows what we'll be sitting here at the end of 2025.
I hope we can do more trips, because obviously we did Budapest, which excitingly I'm hoping we're able to put an episode out on Budapest in the new year alongside our episode for LA. But there's so many other places we need to do together. We must do New York together at some point. There's places in Europe that we haven't been that we should do together. So I'm hoping that we can definitely do more trips, because
Would love.
People seem to like when we do those. I mean, there is, talking of a reason to go somewhere, not that we will be, was that MJ the Musical recently opened in Germany. And I know Eve was there, and she sent me the program from the opening night, which was a huge surprise, because she was like, what's your address? And I thought she was sending me a Christmas card. She was going to turn up on my doorstep. But she sent me this, which was really lovely. And it's also been signed by the guy who plays Michael in the show. So that was really special. And, it's so nice, because I've known Eve for so many years, and we have connected so much better over the last kind of 3 or 4 years, and I think she's incredible.
Love her.
That was huge, and I know how much she loves the musical as well. So I love watching her kind of see it in London, see it in Germany, and see it in New York. And I'm sure Eve is going to end up down under in Australia next year to go see the musical. Actually, I'm going to ask her. I'm going to message her. Let me do it now. I'm going to message her now and be like, Eve, are you going to see the musical in Australia? I know she's out at Mill, but we'll find out. Are you planning to see the musical in Sydney? What do you reckon she'll say? Vote for what she'll say.
She's going to say yeah.
Hold that thought. We'll come back on that when she reads it. But, oh, she's read it. Hold on. She's laughed. That I can say for sure. Nope.
Oh, God.
I'm sure.
We're wrong.
TBC. TBC. I think Eve will end up there. Justice for Eve. Get Eve to Sydney.
Get her there.
Get Eve. Get up here. Char, I think there's somebody else at the door. Who could it be?
Who is it?
It's Maicon. Yay! Hey, Maicon.
Oh, cheers. Look at you.
We're British.
I have something simpler.
Oh,
that's nice.
I love China. Anyway, I'm Michael from Brazil. It's a huge pleasure to be here as a fan, a huge fan, and also taking part. Oh God, my year
Uh,
couldn't end in a better way.
oh, that is so kind. Well, you guys met in Vegas this year, right?
We
Oh
did.
yeah,
It was complete fate. So like it just so happened I was in Vegas with Kim. We were seeing Shania. There was my New Zealand friends were out there as well. You were out there as well, and it just everybody came together. It was like a big smash of MJ fans all just like coming together a week before the birthday as well.
Love
yeah,
that.
and I don't mean to play the kind guy, but the highlight for me to be in Vegas was really meeting Pez there and having the
Oh,
time because since I have seen the show many, many times for the last 10 years, I thought, well, it's a show as I'm used to and I love it. But being there with Pez, that launch moment was amazing. But then I was surprised, as you know.
oh,
Well, we got a surprise because we didn't know that the show was going to be the new version of the show, and since that's now launched, Char, you've also finally seen the
finally.
show, and we discussed that on our last
Finally.
last episode. So now that we've all seen it and we've all seen the new version, like let's talk highlights. Like who what like tops, what are bottoms? Give me the 411.
Ladies first.
Okay, okay. So obviously this was my first time seeing MJ1, which blew me away. I think it was bigger than anything I could have imagined. I don't really know what I was imagining because I've never seen a Cirque show before, so I didn't have much to compare it to. But I knew that if Pez liked it, I was I was probably going to like it because we tend to agree on things like this. But I loved it, and I cried, I laughed, I was a mess. But my highlights, honestly, and I said this before, Billie Jean was such a highlight for me. Not so much because of the song, but because of the lights and the dancing, and it was done in a way that we're not used to seeing Billie Jean done. So
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved hearing the deep cuts blared through speakers like Tabloid Junkie. I
Oh,
loved hearing that so loudly. And I honestly, I really have to commend all of the dancers, all of the acrobats, all of the aerial artists. Every single person involved in that show is best of the best. They are phenomenal. Nobody is off.
absolutely.
They are fabulous at what they do. So, so talented.
Yes,
And
I couldn't agree more with you. And when you said about Pez, oh well, I know Pez liked it. It's just like going to a restaurant and then he said, "Well, I always order this thing, so you go for it." Pez is just like that. Yeah, if you liked it, no, go for it.
yeah.
Yeah, I love Tabloid Junkie too. Since the first day I heard it there with all the effects and different vocal and you know it's like my favorite song of all time. I have my three favorites. It's not the topic, but Tabloid Junkie is definitely one of my top three. And
Same.
the highlight for me was like seeing the high quality images or during the performances that I had previously seen before, especially Billie Jean. And I saw all that new, but I just can't stop loving you with
Yeah.
Michael from the Bucharest show. I tried again. I was like,
Oh,
you know, it's too much. The quality was so. I confess, I had my phone ready to record the hologram just for myself, but the quality was so much better this time. I didn't need to. I saw the details and everything. I was surprised with everything around me, just as it was my first time. But the customs for I want to be starting something. Oh my God, what was that? You know, in the opening piece with the can I say drones and
Yeah, yeah,
everything?
yeah.
Oh, that was like
But
wow,
you had the drones flying over your head because we sat in the same seats
exactly.
when I went
And
with
I
you, Shah.
always took the negative way, and I thought, what if they thought. I always think about that because it was like amazing. I was
Yeah.
amazed with all that. It's like an immersive thing because the drones were coming and you were like going inside the show and oh my goodness.
Oh,
I think they from what I heard, so I did watch. I was reading some comments, and then I know that they've recently done the relaunch in Vegas. They had like the press come down, and they presented them the relaunch. There's something to do with LED screens above people's heads, and I haven't got any insight into what that is. I think they've been put in now, and I'm like, okay, this is great, but for fuck's sake, I'm gonna have to go again. it's
Yeah.
like, it's like
Just
okay,
like me. The
fine.
minute I saw that video and you shared with me with those LED or whatever, I said, well, I haven't seen that. Well, there goes my segment. Okay.
well,
Yeah.
well, I really do feel that it's a show that obviously I've only seen it the once, but I absolutely have to see it again because you don't know where to look. It's in every direction, and I
Right.
feel you have to see it more than once to fully get everything. Because I was actually glad because Pez kept going, look over there, and if he wasn't there, I would have been like this.
Well, it's nice when you see it with like obviously Michael when you were there in the audience as well. It's so nice when you know where the fans are in the room because obviously you see it on a regular day and there's just people from Vegas that have come to see the show. They're in Vegas, but when you go on a day and you know there are fans in the room, it changes the whole atmosphere because you're looking at them to be like, how are they reacting? Because like when the drones went over your head and you were going like this, and because
Yeah.
you obviously people didn't know that was new, but we did because we'd seen it before, so it was great.
Yeah. And I've been there, Charlotte. That's why I decided to go after 2014. I said, well, I didn't pay attention to the details because it was a lot to be seen.
Yeah.
So I'll be back again, and then back again, and then back again. And then there was a detail, for example, the first show in 2014. Maybe I'm wrong, but somebody can correct me. During Billie Jean, for example, there were no videos shoots from the performance of Motown 25th. It was only
Right.
history during the shows in 2014. And
Wow.
then sometime later, they added the images from Motown 25th. It was something that I realized
Wow.
that, wow, so my money wasn't, I really needed to come back to see something different.
They know how to get us. They're like, oh, just chat something else in, they'll come
Yeah.
back. But it was just, I think I always go on about that show and how much I enjoy it. And I think what Jamie King did with the new version is he kind of I'm speaking for him. I don't care. But I feel like he like sat down and looked at the show and was like, where are the gaps? What's missing? Instead of going, oh, well, let's just change it. It was kind of like, well, what is missing? Because I always felt that Scream was a bit off. And I think they fixed that and they made it a lot better. So I really like the way he approached it. And I think Jamie King even said, I always approach this with how would Michael do it? How would he look at it? Which I think is an attitude that doesn't follow through on a lot of other projects. How does Michael do it? People don't think.
Man, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to comment that it's different from the anniversaries. I've been to the anniversaries for 4 times, and every time there's a special performance, Blood on the Dance Floor, and it was just like, it's not a big change. And I thought that whenever they decided to change something, it would be adding some of those performances. And oh, okay. But you really changed it in a way that it made it fresh and make you imagine myself. I've been there over 10 times. There were years I've been there twice. And then just desiring and willing to go again. If they could cause that in myself and in like people who've been there before, like you, imagine to the new people. There were people like no fans by my side. They haven't never seen had never seen the show before. They were crying and saying, "Oh, this is amazing!" And there was another thing that made us fan proud of Michael. Like
Absolutely.
I knew you were gonna love it.
Sure, you said that as well.
Break yourself, and then
Absolutely.
in the end, you were right. It was love. amazing. So that was something.
I know that Pez and Seb were really enjoying watching my reactions because I hadn't seen it before, but I was also enjoying watching other people in the room who are maybe more casual fans or just went to see the show that night. That makes my heart burst because it just is
We
like, no,
feel
but this
what
is
you
my
guys feel
thing.
for the first time. Yeah. I
And
would
that
cry with
that
you. I would
and
cry
that's where
with them,
everything
definitely.
I think that's where everything always comes from, all the kind of criticisms that we sometimes are accused of lobbying at the estate or other people is always because we want to see Michael enjoyed and
Yeah.
bigger and he's naming lights, and I'm like, sometimes I think it always comes out of a frustration for, well, why can't this be bigger? If Michael was here, he would want it bigger, he would want more
Yeah.
people. So I agree with you that I think when you watch other people, it does give you a sense of pride that you're like, yes, that's my artist. Yes. Um,
Exactly.
but
And
I do hope for next year, if I could put a wish in for MJ1, I feel that now that the show is redone, please let's redo the bar area, let's redo the shop, let's redo the lobby, like let's have a refresh because this tired now.
well, funnily enough, I was going to say I loved all that though, but I've never seen it before. But I thought that Vegas in particular did such an amazing job at creating excitement around the show. Michael is everywhere. He's on the trams, he's on the Ubers, he's on big posters all around Mandalay Bay. One of my favorite things was the doors that looked like the jacket.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I love that. I
And
think,
Charlotte, Michael used to be also in the train from Mandalay Bay to Luxor and Excalibur before. Last
yeah,
year, they still had the train, but this year they changed for the championship. I don't know, Formula One or whatever.
yeah.
But he was not only inside, the theater, but outside and in some bridges, some spots in town, the big LED screens beside the Kardashians. Michael was there too. Like he used to be even more evident
Wow.
everywhere. So that would be something for you to see in the train.
Yeah,
But maybe
yeah.
they will do it again. I don't know. That
Uh,
would be great.
I do hope they kind of go back to that because I love having that when you go there and it's like it reminds me of what it must feel like to have Michael on tour again in your city. And
Yeah.
when Michael would tour like History Tour and Dangerous Tour and the town would be full of Michael everywhere, his music playing, and you see it with other artists. I know, Shar, you're a Taylor Swift fan and you probably had it a lot with that, and I did
Yeah.
see that in London. So when you go to Vegas and it's kind of like Michael everywhere, it feels like it's almost like someone's taking a big blanket, a Michael blanket, and wrapping you in it and being like,
Yeah.
you're
At
in.
the airport, yes. At the airport, Charlotte, in 2014, there was Michael, all the screens of Michael Jackson.
Wow.
And there was Michael Jackson one. Oh, and my heart was one. I was like, I would be a zombie at the airport because it was, I have goosebumps just to remember. It's so
Oh,
big, so huge it is. And that's what Michael is all about. The
yeah,
biggest of
definitely.
all. Yeah.
I think I know obviously it's been secured for another 5 years, so I was always worried that it would leave after 10, but it's been secured for another 5 years, which I think is good. Do you think after the show is finished in Vegas, if it doesn't get extended again, do you think that it could tour, or do you think it should stay like a Vegas thing that you had to be there to experience it?
Charlotte?
I would love I would love to see it tour. I think if it toured, it would need major promo, which I would hope had improved by then. But I think I would love to see it tour, and I think around the world people would love to watch that show.
Yeah, because
Okay. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I would disagree because of the theater is
Okay.
adapted for that experience. So you
Yeah.
wouldn't have all the effects of the seats, for example, if you
Mhm.
would tour all over the world. So and maybe I don't know, electricity issues and some problems, storms, whatever. Maybe the show could be compromised. The experience could be compromised, even if it's a little bit from what it really is being in the theater in Vegas. So what I would consider is forget about MJ Live and keep MJ1 forever.
Well, I think obviously we had Immortal Tour, didn't we? And that's one of the highest grossing tours of all time, the Immortal World Tour.
Oh yeah,
Now when I
have it.
compare Immortal and MJ1, I saw both, and maybe because it's in so distant, but Immortal didn't have a patch on MJ1. The only thing I will say, my only criticism of MJ1, and it was the same with Immortal, and I find it is a Jamie King trait that they start with a story, and then midway through the story just drops, and it's kind of like it was the same with Immortal. It was all centered around like going through the Giving Tree and going into Neverland, and then like they're like, oh, just have They Don't Care, just have Scream, and it's like, well, what's that got to do with it? And I do find MJ1 is a little bit the same. Like they go into this fantasy world. It's the hat, it's the glove, it's the shoes, it's the sunglasses. And then you're kind of like, you get into the later half of the show and they're just like, oh, just have another hit and another hit and another hit. You're like, okay, but what does this actually have to do with the story? That's my only criticism. I love it all the same, but that's the only thing I would say. I do want to quickly touch on it though, Michael, because you've seen both MJ1 and MJ the musical. Which would you say is better?
Oh, God. Definitely MJ1. And here's the person who spent 1,363 American dollars to see MJ live in New York
Wow.
at New Year's Eve last year. 2 seats, the best seats and everything. First of all, the main guy, I forgot his name, who plays Michael, he was yellow, terrible makeup, and speaking like NASA, just like those impersonators singing, it's bad. Just like we have in Brazil, and I can't name, otherwise I don't give a damn. But you know what? It was like, it was bigger than that. The only that met us, and his one scene is Michael and Catherine singing together. Nothing else. 3 hours for that was too much. It doesn't get close to what Michael really is. Oh, they change all the choreography, etc. Don't change. Michael used to say, don't touch the classic. Don't touch what is done. Don't change, beat it. You cannot change those tracks. It's just like a waste of money and time. And for me, you could stop it now. You could announce MJ Live will be in our hearts forever. Let's keep MJ1. The legacy is very well preserved with MJ1. This way of gold than MJ Live. And remember, State, I spent thousands of dollars with MJ1, so I know what I'm talking about, especially in your anniversaries with our cupcakes and all that.
Yeah, I must say, as far as parties go, I've done the birthday celebration three times. The only reason I went last year to the birthday is because of the immersive experience, and I wanted to go to that. But as a product and as an event, God, the birthdays are just ghastly. It's just not worth the time. I went to last year when I went, it had been so long, and you kind of have I mean, you can see it in our episode on it, but I went to the breakfast brunch that they do every year, and I was kind of walking in, and there was like egg rolls and blueberry muffins, and I'm like, what the hell's this got to do with Michael? Like, it's got nothing to do with him.
Last year was the same thing. The muffins, same thing, hard as a piece of rock. The same thing. And Branca and everybody like, oh, can I take a picture? It's just like, and the Kaluga brothers, they humiliated me, the Kaluga brothers. I said, oh, could you say something to produce? Not now, mate. Not now, mate, because there were some special VIP guests. And I said, fuck with that. And Prince, very down to earth, talk to me, record a video, so nice. But that was the highlight, seeing Prince, but nothing else than that.
It's not. I mean, just very quickly on this, if I was given like time to throw together that birthday celebration, firstly, I would go to the warehouse. I would get out 10 costumes that he wore, and I would display them in the bar area so that everyone could see those original costumes. They're only sat in a warehouse. Bring them over, and then instead of having his lawyer and his archivist sat there doing meet and greets and photos. I mean, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I would have people he worked with, people he collaborated with, people that he created with, and even members from the show would be better to meet. I would love to meet some of the cast from MJ1 in that birthday celebration. And then when it comes to the live interview on stage, well, I just wouldn't do it because I think it's crap.
I know.
So,
Oh, and last year, you know what they did? They just said, no questions about Thriller 40 will be answered, and this and this and that. And they dared to say, and now for the very first time ever, you're gonna see something exclusively, and they play the making of Thriller with the worst quality available. Fans turning to 4K better than they can do.
Yeah.
I spoke out loud. I just can't believe this shit. I said that. Nobody put me out. I said, no, this is too much. Too much.
it was,
And
I mean,
I
all
got
that.
frustrated, Charlotte. I said, I'll never return to MJ1. No anniversaries for the show. Okay, maybe. And then Pez came. Oh, me in Vegas. Okay. And then I said, at least I'll meet Pez again.
Yeah.
But then the show was all redone, and I was like, oh, so
Well, I'm so glad that we've had this chance to catch up on
Yeah.
MJ1, and I hope our viewers are enjoying the celebrations and the debate that we're having, because we are a debate channel as well as a party. So, Michael, we're going to wish you a happy new year and hope we can have you back on the channel in the new year as well at some point.
Right, and happy new year to you, Pez, to Sebastian, to Charlotte,
Thank
and to
you.
all the wonderful people from Kingvation and MJ Vibe.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
you guys very, very, very much, and I can't wait to see you in London, because Kingvation belongs to London. And also, this is for another video, and also in Vegas this year. Okay, we got to
Hopefully.
be there.
Oh,
Got
I'd
to
love
be there.
to.
I love you. Thank you
Oh,
for the
We
thank
love you,
you.
and we'll
And I'm
see you
sorry for
soon.
interrupting and for talking too much. I'm sorry.
No, that's
No,
about.
that was so kind. Thank
Goodbye.
you.
We'll see you
Bye.
Very
soon.
love you.
Bye.
Goodbye, Fez.
I think the biggest shock for me was obviously Tito passing.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
No, and I think it's a terribly, terribly sad loss. It really brings up a lot of the feelings of, like, Michael was so young when he died, and it was so shocking. And I think as time has went on, obviously we're 15 years later now, and by no means are the Jacksons old. They're not old men. They're still very, very young to pass away. But it does make you realize, God, they're not going to be here forever.
I think that was the shocking thing with Tito, that it's kind
Yeah.
of Michael died young, and it was really shocking because no one was expecting that. But then that's been 15 years ago, and the brothers have kind of carried on
Yeah.
doing their own thing. So to now lose another one, it kind of feels like it does bring home that point that you just made, that it's like they aren't going to be here forever. And
Yeah, and I think that's a feeling, isn't it? When, I mean, obviously everybody's been unlucky enough or will be unlucky enough at some point to experience death in their personal life. And I think whenever someone passes away, there's always a feeling of it's like your own mortality, and you think about, oh my God. And I think that's actually something that Tito's death brought up in a lot of the Michael Jackson fan community, is that, God, that we're so used to growing up with these people and seeing these people around us, and you almost do view them as immortal. And then when something comes to remind you they're not, it's really, really hard to get your head around sometimes.
yeah, and it just kind of, I'm thankful that ultimately, aside from that we are left with music. And this is why,
Absolutely.
people always say, like, I always say I love music, and people go, yeah, I love music too. And I'm like, no, but I love music because
No,
to
like,
be
you don't
left,
love it, like,
yeah,
I love it.
like to be left with, for history to have the Triumph album, in my opinion, is the greatest Jackson's album ever.
Oh, and like, what a legacy to have made such an imprint on music, and to have done that with your family. Like,
Exactly. And I hope he knew, I'm sure he did, and the same with Michael, I hope they know that at their time, the impact they had, and I hope they understand that, like the
Yeah.
impact they've had on people and on music and on culture and the way that they've changed so much for so many people. And that's why I'm glad, like King mentioned, we did actually play Tito's music at the
Yeah.
party towards the end. I know some people thought we didn't play it, but we actually did. It was just a lot later in the evening, but just a kind of celebration, and we mentioned him and whatnot. Um, and then the other big loss that was kind of a shock, I felt sort of very personally, was when Colin Chilvers passed away recently, who fans will know as the director of Moonwalker. And Colin and I interviewed for my documentary Walking on the Moon that people have seen at Convention London, Convention LA, two different versions. And I believe, I may be wrong, but I believe that that was the last interview he did regarding Michael and Moonwalker. So I am hugely privileged to have been able to capture that. And also, you know, I've written some stuff which I'm going to share in the new year just about my memory of that. But it was such a weird thing for me to have like the director of Moonwalker and the Superman movies say yes to talk with me. I'm like, that still kind of blows my mind when those things kind of happen. I'm like, really? Like you'll do it? Yes. And when he was like interviewing, and then we were setting up, and his tech wouldn't work and all the rest of it, and then he was like, "Oh, I think the fans will really enjoy seeing an Oscar." So he goes off and gets his Oscar, and he brings it back, and he's like, "What should I put it on?" Oh, there's nothing to put it on. I'll go bring a unit in, and then it's just like it was like slow mo, like comedy, like just hit as he's dragging this unit into shot, and then he puts the Oscar like bang on this unit, sits down, and goes, "Oh, I won a Brit Award for Michael. I'm gonna go get it." And like runs off and brings back this Brit Award covered in cobwebs, and it was just and then we did the interview, and he spoke about Moonwalker and whatnot. And you know, there had been some discussions about getting certain people together next year, and so I'm really sad that that obviously won't happen with him. But it, yeah, it was a real shock to me when I heard that, because he was a really, really kind person. This one's to Colin, so cheers to him,
Colin.
and thank you for Moonwalker. Charlotte, I can hear a noise in your house, like in the background.
Who is it? Oh, let me. Oh,
It's Connie! Hey, Connie!
hello.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
I mean, when was the last time you two saw each other?
You're going back now.
Well, we thought if we were going to do a New Year's celebration, we should probably have a drinking game. And when the candidates were listed, we thought, who is likely to stand the drinking? Connie McLachlan.
Of course, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
I still say that because of you now, all the time.
Insert the clip now.
For those who don't know who she is, look it up. So we thought it'd be fun to play the game that we've played in the past, which we did title Jackson Reaction, wasn't it? Because we used to play it around, like whenever we'd get together for Michael's birthday or for anniversaries, not the actual June 25th, but like the day after. We would always play this game that we call Jackson Reaction, which is where you say a controversial MJ statement, and anybody who disagrees with you has to drink. So we thought it'd be fun to do a few rounds of Jackson Reaction for New Year's Eve.
Woohoo!
So who is going to ruin the party by going first?
I'll start off with one that I don't think is too much.
Okay. So remember, if you disagree, you drink.
Okay. MTV 1995 was the best performance of Michael's career.
Agree.
I agree.
Oh, see?
Although I wish he didn't mime bits of it.
My only thing, and I get because it was like all the time, but I'm like, ending with "You're Not Alone" was so like woo woo woo.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's still my favorite performance ever.
I do like the bit where he like spins and then it's during Billie Jean and he's miming and he spins and he misses the mic for the next bit, and then it's kind of like he just goes, "Oh well, they know." And then like there's another bit where he just doesn't even bother to put the mic there, and I'm like, "Okay,
I
Mike."
love.
But the intro is just like
Oh,
just
and I
an absolute.
actually feel like a lot of the time when Michael's on stage, like when he's talking to the audience, he comes across shy. But I love when he's like, "This one's for you." I'm like, "Oh yeah."
See, I always like that because I feel like it's a little camp moment where it's like, "This one's for you."
Well,
Yeah.
Like a hair flick and off he
yeah.
runs. Okay, well, that wasn't controversial, so I'm going to ruin it by saying I think the blood on the dance floor video hair is the worst hair Michael ever had in a short film.
What a lot of shit. I have honestly, I love that hair. One,
No.
because it was like because it was the only time we ever saw it. And I just think that whole look, the burgundy suit, I'm channeling. I love the burgundy suit. I love the hair. Oh, the hair. It's just, we never saw that again. And even like at the front where he has the pieces hanging down. Oh, just love. What are you looking for?
I'm starting to think that you might have an issue with color blindness because it's definitely a red suit.
Oh, it's a dark red suit, which is burgundy, no?
No, burgundy's burgundy. Dark red is dark red. Buddy, help me out.
Yeah. Well,
But
sorry, excuse me, his dark red suit, but I just
much
love,
better.
I love it, and I just think
The
you're
look,
unfortunately and terribly wrong.
the suit with the silk and the leather, I think, oh, okay, that's a controversial choice to mix silk with leather, but I love it and it works. And the jacket,
Uh-huh.
it works. The shoes, it works. The bracelets works. Then you get to that hair, and I'm like, nope, nope.
May I interject and say, I need you to then choose hair from another video that you'd like instead.
Oh
Your
yeah,
blood
like
on the dance.
jam.
No.
Give me those
The blood
jam
on the dance.
curls. Yes,
No.
yes.
The blood on the dance floor hair is unique to the outfit. It's not blood on the dance floor. I'll tell you
Or
that.
like he did on the album cover, where it's kind of like wavy ponytail with the.
Thought
With
you
the
didn't like bits hanging down.
I don't, but when the hair is kind of like wavy, it looks better. But when it's in a plait, it's a no.
I love blood on the dance floor
Good.
hair.
Well, Connie, give us a controversial opinion to drink to. We're sobering up.
Yeah, go on.
Oh God. Right, well, I already know that I'm not going to be agreed with on this one, but I stand by it that Smooth Criminal is his best short film.
Reason being?
Go on, argue with me.
No, reason being what?
Reason being, I think it's just the vibes of it are just so unique, and they're like, there's just something about it. I don't like the way that everyone looks amazing in it. I think that
They
like
do.
the story throughout, like it's so interesting. I just love it.
You like the Chicago vibe?
I do.
You know, it's funny because I was close to switching to agree with you. I mean, when I did the documentary, the detail in Smooth Criminal is just phenomenal, and it is a very, 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 very close second for me to Remember the Time, which will always be my favorite
Oh,
because Michael just took that in a different direction. It's like, you know, when you go costume, you can go almost like cheap and cosplay and it looks tacky. Remember the Time doesn't. And Michael was, I
yeah.
think, the first person to have an all black cast for ancient Egypt as it
Yeah.
should be. And what I love is that when you watch them dancing and stuff and you look in the background, you can see like right in the distance, like a tree blowing and like, you know, the sunset. And it's like just the attention to detail and the recreation of like an ancient Egypt set. I just, magic.
It's great.
Um,
I don't
sorry.
disagree that it's great.
We're trying to shut Charlotte down.
What have you got to say then?
What
my
say
favourite-
you, Char McLachlan?
I'll tell you. Neither of those are my personal favourite video or the video that I think is Michael's best. I think Michael's best video is Bad. I knew you were going to make that face. I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it, but to me, Bad is the best video for a multitude of reasons. I'm not saying song. Don't get your knickers in the twist, guys.
No one felt so. We're just intrigued with how you've deduced of the entire catalogue that is the best one.
Bad is the best video. I 100% stand by that. Number one, the story. 2, the looks. 3, the dance. Guys, Bad literally was a cultural reset. Unfortunately, as much as I love every other... It's not my favourite song. It's not been actually... In fact, on the episode where we were going to kick songs off of the album, I'm pretty sure I said I would kick Bad off. Oh no, I didn't. I said Speed Demon. Because of the video. Anyway, Bad is the best.
Well, I mean, because it's not, let's just I'm just like, how can you like... I love the Bad video. I do love the Bad video, but how can you say that's better than like...
Because it is.
Like then Scream, or They Don't Care, or...
Because it is.
Or Black or White.
You mean to tell me that when Michael's giving, you ain't bad, you ain't nothing.
Listen,
ain't nothing.
I love that. And one of my favourite bits of the Bad video is when he goes, "You want to see who's bad, man? Come on, I'll show you who's bad." Then he goes out of the room and you can hear in the distance he's going, "I'll show you who's bad." And I live for that. But then it's great. It's drama. It's anger up until that point when he drops from the ceiling and the village people is standing there.
Oh,
and I'm like,
I feel that's not how I view it.
Evidently, we've established your burgundy suits and your orange beater jacket.
No, I just think Bad is the best. To me, you can't get better than Bad video. Michael in a hoodie and a wee trench. Oh yeah.
I love all of that bit. It's just the actual
the
music part.
Great.
Yeah, but the dance, guys, the dancing. When have you ever seen ballet incorporated with Michael's moves and people doing the step move, but he's doing it in a group? And guys, I'm sorry, some people get it and some people don't. And clearly,
Well, let me just say, if I was hoping for more like Beat It Part 2 with the dance, like more aggressive.
Maybe that's a bit on you.
But it was, but it's very West Side Story, as we know. But I'm just like, you can't be saying like, "I'm bad, I'm gonna fuck you up," and then you're like twinkle toeing down the train station.
That's what makes it so... I was literally going to say so cunt, but I can't say it. But that's the contrast I'm talking about. Like, he is saying this stuff while literally doing ballet. And guys, I wouldn't like to cross him and his squad that night.
Well, you'd hear him before you saw him because of all those belts and buckles clinking along.
Give me a quarter.
I know, and I'm like, I've always like, Michael, if you're gonna mug someone, like, ask for more than a quarter. I mean, I know inflation and all the rest of it, but it's like, Michael, go for the wallet. Like,
I know, come on.
Well, seeing as you've dropped that besmirchery shot, it's actually your go. So, what's your controversial take?
Oh, okay. Right, let me clarify before I say this opinion that Invincible is actually number 2 favourite album. First is Dangerous, second is Invincible. I think Invincible, here I go. Invincible wasn't cohesive enough. Oh,
I actually agree.
Oh, the reason I say this is because I feel Invincible can be divided into 2 sections. We have the R&B slow jams, You Rock My World, Butterflies, Break of Dawn, all that kind of vibe, and I love all that. And then we've got the kind of robot section with all the songs that go on for about 7 minutes, and it's just like Michael's been let loose on the soundboard. I really think that had Invincible been, and I actually really believe, just before I say this, that Invincible is only now getting its flowers and getting the recognition. I think Invincible was so ahead of its time that it's only really getting appreciated now. But I think because of how much of a contrast there is in the sounds, people just did not get it at the time, and that is my honest opinion.
I completely agree. I think the way that the track list goes as well, it's too much of like the same thing at the beginning, and then
Yeah,
it like you can almost, like you say, like break it down in blocks.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think it doesn't have like the ebbs and flows like Dangerous does, for example, where you're like you go like this with Dangerous. Whereas, if you look at earlier albums like Bad, I feel like Bad is very much an 80s album. The
Yeah,
the sound is very much the same, and they all kind of work together because the sound is mostly on the same par. You've got a
yeah.
few little takes in there that aren't, like Liberian Girl, I would say it's not. But mostly it's that kind of 80s synclavier sound. Dangerous takes you on this roller coaster. I would say History does. It has a few drops with like things that shouldn't be there. But Invincible is very much like a blocky album, and it's almost like you could lose a block and it wouldn't affect the album.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Well, that was actually
that
good.
Yeah.
okay. I'm gonna say I would like, and this is in 2025, and I'm sure there are many people that would disagree because they're sick of it. I would like a brand new Michael Jackson Greatest Hits album to come out.
Oh no, sorry, no. Do you
Right.
want to hear the Motown stories about jigging to the washing machine as well?
What's that got to do with a Greatest Hits album?
Yawn, heard it all before.
No, because I tell you for why. Like, I
Go
think
on then.
that Michael was often treated like a deceased artist by Sony for the last 10 years of his career because we had the greatest hits every single year.
Yeah.
But I think number ones was the closest we got, but we've never quite had a banging Michael Jackson greatest hits package, like cover to cover, song to song, everything amazing. Now, do I think the estate can do that? Absolutely not. But it doesn't want for wishy. But I just think we've never had like a spectacular greatest hits. I love the King of Pop, like collecting and all that, but it was a mess. There were songs on there that weren't greatest hits. Ultimate Collection again was great, but it was a bit of a mess with like
I
outtakes and
think
demos, and I
I
just want
think
like a greatest hits package that's like
no, what you want is your own compilation of your own choices.
no, no, it's not. I just think like Michael has like we got close with number ones, I think, and then they chucked in like Ben Live and Break of Dawn. Is it Break of Dawn or Heaven Can Wait that's on there? I forget. I'm not in touching distance.
So do you want like cover to cover bangers? Because then like I am, in my opinion, if we're doing cover to cover bangers, get Man in the Mirror off. I don't want to cry in the
No,
middle of
no,
the
I
party.
want a greatest hits. What is a
That is a
greatest? Yeah, no, but it is. That's what I mean. But I think they always kind of there's a difference between classics and greatest hits.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I don't think Michael has ever had a greatest hits that I would say like greatest hits volume one, like the disc one on History. That's not greatest hits. The Girl Is Mine is not a greatest hit under any circumstances. And then, like I said, like I'm pretty sure it is Break of Dawn was not even a single. Why is it on there? It's and then
I
Essential
want like
has got
greatest hidden gems.
yeah, but then like In the Closet and Will You Be There are on Essential, and I love those. They're two of my favorites, but they're not greatest hits. Ultimate Collection has endless other bits.
Can you like give me, just so I can understand the vibe of this album, can I have 5 of such greatest hits?
Yes, you can. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, greatest
Okay,
hit.
yeah.
Billie Jean Beat It, greatest hits. Smooth Criminal, greatest hits. Black or White, greatest hits.
But you not just kind of think like, oh.
It is, but at the same time, I think with the biopic coming out,
Yeah, no,
like,
I do see what you mean there. I think that's
like,
a really good point.
Michael's greatest hits, but not just like, oh, because King of Pop was kind of fan favorites, and even though none of the UK ones were fan favorites, But there's always, I just feel like we get so close, and there's always a fucking curveball that's like Ben Live, and it's like,
No,
why is this on a record?
that is fair. Ben Live is like fair.
So if you could spit your drink back out, that'd be great.
Sorry, Connor.
I didn't know this is the game we were playing, so I've been really thrown on the spot here, guys. Okay. I'm scared to say it. So, although it is not my favourite album, I think Bad is his best and most cohesive album.
It's not the best.
If you just said cohesive, I'm gonna drink because it's not the best.
I meant, yeah, I said best and most cohesive.
Yeah, so it's not the best.
It's encapsulated as, I feel like, here's my reasoning. When we had the conversation about kicking songs off albums, I struggled the most with Bad. Bad was the one I thought, I'm really struggling to find songs here that I would happily not have again.
I agree with you completely.
But on the other one, on every other album, there was ones I could I could easily let that go. That's fine. That's why. But it's not my favourite.
I agree with you.
As
But
a
Bad,
work, as a whole, Bad is like up there.
I agree that Bad is the hardest to remove a song from, because I think every song is important and has its place for its own right. However, I also think Bad is the album that now sounds the most dated.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. It's the one that's kind of stuck in the 80s as that 80s sound. And it's become almost like a throwback.
Yeah.
Whereas when you go to like a wedding or a party and they play Don't Stop or they play Rock With You, it doesn't sound like it's from 1979.
No, and it's the same even with, obviously, Invincible's a lot more recent than the 70s, but even with You Rock My World and other songs like that, Me Pure, how can I make this about You Rock My World? But that does not sound 20 years old.
Yeah.
And I think Bad, I don't want to say falls down, because it's not a bad thing that it sounds dated, but Bad doesn't, you would never think Bad was current now.
No, because you couldn't even mask it as someone doing like an 80s concept album because it sounds 80s. But then everything at that time kind of was, I guess, so it fits perfect.
I agree with you that it was cohesive. I don't agree that it was the best.
Agreed on that agreement.
Sorry, Hen.
Shall get your glass to your lips. To your lips. Start drinking.
Oh, no, okay.
I think You Rock My World song and video was was a poor choice of comeback.
Do you?
Do you? Sorry, what was that?
Care to explain?
Yes, I do care to explain. I really love You Rock My World. It took me a long time to... I loved that song initially, and then I grew out of favour with it. And it was maybe 5 years ago on New Year's Eve. I heard it out, and I loved it again. And I was like, okay, love.
Pause. Is everyone hearing this? Pez only started to like You Rock My World 5 years ago. That deserves a kick from the channel.
Pause again, because Cheryl obviously isn't listening, where I said I used to love it, and then I fell out of love with it, and then I restarted to love it again.
I'm just hearing a lot of shit.
Well, so I started to re-love it again when I heard it out, and with the bass, and I was like, okay, this is fire. But the reason I say I think it was a poor choice was because the video just was like a rehash of the old kind of like gangster Michael thing. And also I felt that Michael's heart just wasn't in that video. The deciding factor for me with You Rock My World short film, where I'm like, nope, is when he does the whole thing on the bar and he's kicking the glass and he's smashing shit up, and we're like, okay, yeah, cool. And then right at the end of that bit, he like down the side stairs. Old Michael would have jumped off that bar, like span as he landed, like ow. But he would have really like catapulted himself off the end of that bar, and he just kind of goes like, watch it back. He just like tiptoes down the steps, and I'm like, nah, this is. I don't like this. Like, we rock my world. We've done the gangster thing with Dangerous live, and obviously with Smooth Criminal, and it's time to do something else. Even if he was wearing something else when he went into that club, it would have been different. Like, the whole vibe of the club was different. It was more of like a 2000s kind of smoky vibe, and if he'd have worn something different, like not the suit with the hat, I think it would have changed the concept. But
I,
yeah, I think it was a little bit underwhelming for a comeback.
I, in terms of song choice, I disagree to the highest level. But I actually do understand what you mean about the video. Like, I think the concept of that video was done 100 times, and I think, like, do we really need to chase the girl around again? Like, yawn. But I will not have any slander with You Rock My World. So as much as I may agree, I'm just going to not show so.
But do you really stand by for a comeback song?
Yeah.
That was the best song that
Yeah.
was gonna like light up the charts, really reboot.
People just didn't
Yeah.
fucking get it. I'm sorry, some dummies out there just did not get it. I literally do
No,
not
no, 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 no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
no, no, no. Let me but hold on that though, because it's kind of like if I have to like find space to get it, then it's already not got. Like,
I don't think so. I think, like, obviously I don't right. Obviously I do not remember Invincible coming out, right? I was fucking 3. I
how old
don't
was
remember.
Connie? Connie was.
Connie was fresh out the womb.
Shout out to Estelle. Hey, hon.
I don't remember, right? I had literally just turned 3, so I don't fucking remember. But You Rock My World there is crack in that song. The only way I can describe it, right, and this is going to make me sound like a nutcase. See, when you listen to You Rock My World with headphones, the beat goes like this.
Yeah.
There is no other song that does that ever. Find me one because I want to hear it. But no other songs do that. And I just feel that You Rock My World, you can play that in any situation. If you're having like a lazy Sunday, put that on. It's not at a place. If you're having a party, put that on. It's not at a place. Play it at my fucking funeral. It won't be at a place there.
Noted. But I don't know. I just think like it slotted neatly into what was going on at the time, but Michael never was about slotting in neatly, and that's why
I think like it perfectly fits in though with the vibe at the time. Like we had like Aaliyah at the time, there was Ashanti, there was like all those kind of sounds were so popular, and I love, maybe that's because it's like my favorite sort of genre of music is probably that kind of slower R&B, like just a pure sexy vibe. Maybe like I'm biased or whatever, but to me, I'm just think You Rock My World. Oh, stick a fork in me, I am done.
I would have said maybe Whatever Happens would have been a better kickoff. Like, imagine
Ooh.
him in a cowboy hat, like coming into a western look.
Yeah, the
I can even
idea.
do it myself. I'm like, I've got my
Oh,
cowboy hat. I can like
yeehaw!
do it. Oh, there's something stuck in it. But I think that would have been like him and Carlos Santana, because Santana was big at the time. Oh, I think that would have been
Okay,
amazing.
you've actually just triggered my point. I've thought of my
Okay, over to you, Shah.
right. This is not going to go down well.
Oh.
To me, okay, to me, Billie Jean is a you had to be there type song. The reason I say this, everyone who remembers Billie Jean coming out is like, oh, it was the best song ever. Oh my god, it takes me back.
Yeah.
When I hear Billie Jean personally, I think skip, overplayed.
I don't agree
Well, you
with
didn't actually, because I
skip
wasn't sure myself.
overplayed. But I do think like at the time, like I do feel like to have the love for it you had to be there at the time.
Yeah, ask.
The song is great. It's a great song.
Yeah, it's a great song, but ask anyone who was alive, lucky enough to be alive, might I add, when Billie Jean came out and they remember it, they talk about it like it would took you to another planet. And I think that's like a thriller thing in general. But I just don't have, like, my mum, oh my God, the way she talks about Billie Jean. She talks about Billie Jean as if the song lived next door. She loves this bloody song. And I just feel like if you were there at the time, you have a different bond with Billie Jean to everyone who came after it.
I just think Billie Jean is like, it wouldn't even sit in my top 20 of favourite Michael songs.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
And Billie Jean is very much one that I fall in and out of love with. Like, I don't listen to it for a long time, and then it will come on, and I'll be like, oh my God, this is like amazing. I think with Billie Jean, there's two things I want to say on Billie Jean. The first one is the reason I disagree with you on that "you had to be there" moment is because I never really listened to it properly, and then one of Michael's colleagues said, if you step back from Billie Jean for a moment and listen to it almost like you're hearing it for the first time, which is hard because it's so familiar.
Yeah.
It's actually the reason it's so well loved is because you can't predict where it's going to go. If you listen to a typical song structure, Billie Jean, where it starts and then where it goes, is not where it naturally should progress. And that's why it has such a like, what? Obviously, you have to hear that for the first time, which we probably don't remember our first time hearing it.
Yeah, don't.
But he was saying, like, if you listen to certain songs, you can kind of work out the next part of the sound.
Well, funny you say that, because on a totally unrelated note, Sabrina Carpenter, obviously Song of the Year, Espresso, the reason that people said that did so well is because it starts with a chorus.
Yes,
So
that's true.
songs that don't have the typical verse, chorus structure, the public seem to respond really well with them.
But that's what I like when Michael did that. Like, he did it with Blood on the Dance Floor as well. When you listen to that song and you didn't know that was going to come in with like him like quietly into the mic and then going into like double time and building and building and building, and it's unpredictable. And that's what I like about the Dangerous album, that it's unpredictable. If you listen to it in succession, you don't know, you can't place your mood, because one minute you're happy, then you're sad, then you're angry, then you're like, and it just goes like that. And Billie Jean is very much like that in a song. The other thing I would say about it that I always find funny is just watching people, particularly at weddings, when Billie Jean comes on, and they're all like, Billie Jean. I'm like, do you actually know what the lyrics are to this song? Because it's not a party tune by any means possible. Like, it's actually quite harrowing. If you take off the beat, it's actually quite harrowing. Char McLachlan, give us a contro.
The Come Together music video drives me nuts. And I really don't like it for one reason and one reason alone. Bad continuity with his costume. His shirt goes from being ripped to closed to ripped to closed. And it really, really grates on me. And I feel like Michael was a perfectionist. That should have been so... I know with like
I have
takes...
literally, honestly, I've never noticed that before.
Have you not?
No, well, it really grates on me.
Guys,
really like
that is honestly the
too much
last
of a
thing I'm looking
perfectionist
at.
to let that slide.
This is why I'm shocked. I'm drinking on that because I don't agree.
Nah, neither do I. Take the whole thing off, that's what I say.
I love the song. I think it's great and I think it looks great, but it really, really annoys me. I can't watch it.
I literally have never noticed this. I am not looking at the shirt. I feel like there's too much going on in that video to look like he is. Oh my God. He looks amazing there. So I'm really not. I'm going to watch it now that you've said that.
I am disappointed, distressed, and deeply disturbed by the fact that that is a reason for you not to watch it. But then again, there's obviously weird things going on in this household because Charlotte thinks Bad is the best music video. So,
well, do you know, it's just one of those. I'm like, Michael, you are so good on the small details, and I know, look, it's difficult with doing multiple takes of different things. You can't rip your shirt the same every time. But it's just an annoying wee thing. And I really don't like it.
It does not annoy me.
What was that?
I just don't feel. I don't feel annoyed by that at all. I'm like, oh yeah.
Do you need a minute?
Yeah.
My final controversial opinion, perhaps not for you guys, but for people watching, I do not enjoy Michael's autobiography, Moonwalk.
Oh, neither do I.
I just think it is flowers and sunshine.
It's literally naff.
Well,
It
I wasn't gonna go that deep,
is.
but yeah. No, I just think it's all very surface level, and I wish Michael had. This is the thing. No one's asking you to have to tell your story if you don't want to, but if you do, sweetie, give me the story. Like I don't want like, and then I loved everybody, and it was a really happy moment, and oh, it was a little challenging at times. I want like I was fucked off. This was like,
The way I feel about it is it's like tell the office your life story. Like you're giving it such a muted version where you're like not really showing your full personality. Like it's very formalities.
it's all just very surface level, like very cutesy, very demure. But even like when he's talking about things that were maybe challenging or difficult, I don't just feel like he kind of grazes over it and then we're on to the next thing because we've got to get
Yeah.
everything in the book. I just, for knowing the type of educated person that he was and the philosophical person that he was and the depth to his character and his personality, I don't feel that book is a great representation of him as a person.
Yeah, no, that is correct.
Especially as it's an autobiography, not a biography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted more, like more depth, and I think I've read it 2 or 3 times and just don't really
I think
bother with
that's
it.
Yeah.
fair.
Oh, good, good. I'm in great company.
It's
We
great
want to know the
agree.
dirt, and we're not getting it.
Exactly. Charlotte, for our final one, do you have a controversial opinion?
No.
No.
The outfits on the Dangerous Tour, guys, I really feel they could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
There's a few things.
Well, okay. No, hold on. You're gonna need to say the ones you don't like, and we'll drink for every one
I'm
that we
not a fan
disagree
of.
with.
I
Wait,
don't
wait,
love.
wait, wait, wait. Let me top up. Okay, because I feel like I'm gonna need it.
Don't love the thong. You like that?
I do like that.
Okay. I know it was for the socks, but the length of the trousers really does annoy me.
Mm.
Keep going.
I don't like when they just shove a jacket on over the.
Oh no, I agree with that.
Thank you.
Over there.
Oh, like over anything, like we just shove a Thriller jacket on top. Don't like.
Yeah, pure. Oh, it's Thriller now.
And I
Here's
just-
the jacket.
I like
Yeah.
I like the holographic jacket. I love that. In fact,
What jam?
yeah,
Okay, good.
but I don't love many of the Dangerous Tour outfits, unfortunately.
I mean,
Like-
delightfully for all of us, you're wrong. But the only one I would agree with you on is Working Day and Night. I think that thing is hideous.
Well, but then what? You're championing the thong over here, and I'm not saying this because it's. I just think it looks bloody daft.
But it's one of those ones where, yeah, on anybody else that would look daft. On Michael, it just doesn't. It just works. He can pull it off.
I don't like the song.
I love that kind of bold.
I
mean,
like that it's bold. I like that it's bold. I just don't think it was like.
do you know why I think it doesn't work for a lot of people because of the color? If it was black, because it's not obviously
Oh,
it's
if it was black, I feel like it totally changes it.
but it's a fencing outfit, isn't it? So it's if it was this, when you wear a fencing outfit, it's white and white, and when he wore it for the Herb Rich shoot, he wore black with black. So then he wore black and gold, and it contrasts really well, but it loses the fact that it's a fencing.
I get
outfit.
that obviously if he's on stage, he needs to be seen. So obviously wearing gold is like better for people who are fucking miles away. But I just don't know. I feel like the dangerous tour outfits were just.
But for you guys to both agree that like him just sticking a jacket on top is like no. I love that about him for several reasons. One, I love probably it's better in history era the way that it kind of like the outfits break down.
Yeah.
So like it starts all buttoned up, then he undoes it, then he opens the
Yeah.
jacket, then he takes the jacket off, then he puts another jacket on, then eventually he changes costume. But it's like multi-usable. Don't think that's the right phrase, but whatever. But what I love about when we're on Dangerous Tour is that you literally can. Michael is so iconic that you can literally shove a Thriller jacket on, like you say. Oh, it's Thriller now. Exactly, because you just put a jacket on, and it's Thriller now, and everybody gets it. Even though it's not the same color, because of the cut, and it's a Thriller jacket. Everybody in the room gets it.
I'm being
And I love that.
pernickety. I'm being pernickety because obviously, like, I like that element, but I just feel like it could have done a bit better with the costumes on the tours, unfortunately.
But Man in the Mirror with the white shirt, and like
Yeah, it's cute. It's like it's cute, but I'm just not like wowed by the outfits. Oh, I know.
I hope you're not having the discipline problems over there that we're having over here. Well, on that sour note, I think it's time to have one final drink as a group before Connie stumbles off to her next party. So, cheers, Connie, and
Cheers,
Happy New
everyone.
Year. And we hope
Thank
to
you
have you
for
back. We hope to have you back next year because you are on one of our highest watched episodes this year, with the conversation on the greatest night in pop. So thank you for
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Oh, no problem.
We'll
I had
see
a
you
good
soon.
time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. What are you looking forward to next year, Shah?
Oh, let's start with the obvious. I am looking forward to this biopic. I am. I can't wait to go and enjoy something that has been so highly anticipated. I am going to give it my everything to really enjoy this and go into it with a mindset that is not too tarnished by what we already know. My friends who are not Michael fans have already told me I am not going to see that with you for the first time. I can't be arsed. And I said, that's fine. I didn't plan to see it with you for the first time anyway.
But do you want to see it with like take me
Yeah.
out of it? But I said as well, I don't want to see it with. I don't want to go to a fan screening.
I'm not so much against that. I think the first time I see it, I don't know how I'm going to react, and knowing me, it's probably going to be with a lot of emotion. So I don't know. I wouldn't say I wouldn't go to a fan screening, but I also
As the first, like I love our community for everything they bring and their charisma. But
if it was a group of fans I could trust to sit quietly and watch it and not hee hee and ha ha and holler.
yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like I don't want my first viewing of the biopic to be somebody in the audience going, ah!
No, I don't.
Please, I need to digest this.
I don't want that. I think if it was a group of fans who knew were going to behave, then definitely.
I mean, I'm kind of pissed it's moved to October because I was really like, when we've had so much build up, and I'm like, right, I'm ready. Let's just get this done because if I'm going to spend the rest of the year pissed off about something or really elated and fully engrossed in it, I need to know where I'm going to be in June. And then they were like, "Oh, surprise! We're moving it to October," and I was like, delaying the inevitable.
I am looking forward to the biopic in 2025. What else am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to any potential events that may or may not arise.
As a result of the biopic, or
well, I mean, it is 10 years since a very special event that holds a great place in my heart. But I don't know anything about whether or not.
I mean, I do. It is 10 years of Kingvention next year, which is crazy because I feel like I've aged significantly when I look at.
I feel I've aged significantly. Anyway, no, 10 years since the first one is a crazy, crazy thought. I think the first time I've spoken about this so much on here, but the first time I ever went to convention, I felt understood in a way that I had never felt in my life. And I felt for the first time that, oh my God, sorry for the cringe moment, guys, but I genuinely felt so deeply connected to people that I had never met before. And it was such an amazing feeling. And I remember thinking, wow, like, this is what it feels like to have fan friends, because I had wanted that for so long. And all I wanted, oh my God, all I wanted was to know it was going to happen again. And I remember the announcement on Facebook, and I also remember going crazy over it.
Yeah, and I remember making it because we were drunk in a pub a week later, and we were like,
See,
"Should we do
some
another one?
things
Let's do
never
another one.
change.
I'll announce it on social media like now." And that was a big mistake to do it in that fashion, but we learned from that. We learn and we grow. But no, I mean, 10 years of convention can't pass without something, and we do have a new venue in mind that we've now seen and stuff, and hoping that at some point in the next, well, this will go out New Year's Eve, this episode, so we're hoping in
or
the
hug
next
me.
we're hoping in the next week or so that something will be shared, so that's
Yes,
something to look forward to when everyone's miserable and depressed after New Year and everybody's got no money. We come back and
definitely.
like, hey. But I think the only other thing I'll say on that before we move on is that where you usually have to wait until the later half of the year, you won't have to wait that long. So that changes things.
The other thing that I would say I'm looking forward to for 2025 is the unknown. This time last year, we did not even know we were going to LA. We did not know what lay ahead, and I am really, really hoping that we can get more trips in. So that would be something to look forward to, certainly.
Sure, I thought we were done with guests, but I can hear a noise downstairs.
I think there's a rustling in your house now.
There's a rustling in my house.
Who's at the door?
It's Seb!
Yeah!
Hey!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Thanks for joining us from the lower floors of our home.
No choice.
It's amazing how we can make different backgrounds look great. I love your lights. Who hung those lights?
I don't know, a stranger.
Oh,
They are very festive. Are they in the front window?
they are in the kitchen. I would know because that stranger was me. We are having a New Year's Eve celebration, and we're catching up with some old friends to chat about MJ stuff. So we thought, why not bring in our merchandise extraordinaire on top of all things collectibles, my dearest Sebastian. So
I like the fact you said old friend.
I call him as I see him. So Seb, bring us up to speed. Like, it's been, I wouldn't say we've had a lot of merch this year. We've had a few bits.
No, we didn't, but we had few interesting things, and I think some fans actually trying to forget those things. Me included. When I look at it, I was like, oh yeah, that happened, and that happened. So obviously we had the Funkos, and we had a lot of them.
No, the old ones.
Yeah, you've got a few.
No, they're the old ones. I thought they were the new. Oh, there's one.
Yeah, that's a bad one. We had the Thriller one and the Off the Wall album Funko Pops, which was great. And then in January, we had a very good surprise about the official merchandise Michael Jackson with the bad logo.
Oh.
Do you remember that one?
No, what was that?
They recreated the bad logo and put it on merch.
Oh, God, was that this year? I've literally lost.
Yes.
Oh, with the alphabet spaghetti logo that we chatted with Eve about, friend of the show. Oh, wow, yeah, God, that was this year. That was a heap of shit. And to be fair, MJ Merch Official haven't, and watch this, they're going to release it.
They've been very quiet.
I guess whoever.
The last one was in May, and that was that Thriller floating head on Just Gun.
I guess whoever Branca gave a license to, probably a cousin or a family member or a daughter or something, has probably got bored of that for now. The little side hustle that they set up under Michael's name, probably bored of that. But that'll come back for the biopic. You can bet your bottom dollar. So, yeah, less said about that one, the better. What else is we
Let's
have
carry
the
on let's carry on the bad, not the bad, but on some merch we're not quite keen on the show here, the three of us. MJ musical. So MJ musical in January released few magnets, a poster, keyring, and the glove.
yeah.
Lately they released they released in between they released the socks and the beanie, and also lately they released the fedora, and we've got a special guest.
Sorry, he was down there and wanting to get involved in the episode. This is Loki. Do you have anything to say? No, he's purring. So what he does say is, "Can they stop releasing merchandise because all this shit in my house?" Come on, come on.
And then I managed to find out that the all merchandise for the new Das Michael Jackson musical, which is they're really the same merch, but obviously with the German title for some of the items. And then in Feb, they released a collaboration with the Ugly Duck. Remember that one?
Yes, I do remember that.
Was that. What was it called? That wasn't Bathing Ape, was it?
Sorry?
That wasn't Bathing Ape.
No. Bathing Ape, that was last year.
No.
God, where's my year gone?
Is an ugly duck, literally from the title of it.
Right.
And then we had two Japanese collaboration. The first one was Good Rock Speed, and the second one was, sorry for my accent, Shimamura. And they were only clothing. And again, it's the same design.
Okay.
And then in July, I can see you had something in the background. We had the chili beans. Chili beans from Brazil. So it's a Brazilian company who released a huge range of sunglasses.
These were actually so nice, but I will say this much. The only thing I'll say is, like, they weren't really like Michael's style. They just had Michael's name on. But these ones are so cool. Look, so you put them on. I can't actually see anything of these on. But then they can be sunglasses as well. So you just
yeah, that is cool.
So and you take them off again when you want regular.
That is cool.
But they were really like nice presentation box, really, really nicely made. So that was actually a successful partnership, I think, anyway.
Yeah, the only problem was there is a lot of them. I think last time I counted, it was over 40 different type of glasses. From what Micron said, they were going to release a second range next year.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So that was in July. July was a busy month for collectors because we had also the Minix Thriller, no, Smooth Criminal, sorry.
They were so cute though. Like they
were.
Finally, it's like something that I think kids will really like.
Yep.
So we had the Thriller one in May, and in July we had the Smooth Criminal. And as from this morning, I've got the design for the April one next year, which is Dangerous Pose from
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Yeah.
Love.
I mean, that's great, but I wish it was something to do with history, like history tour or history era. I know they probably thought, oh, well, the history statue is based on the Super Bowl, but
yeah. So I spoke to the owner of Minix, well, not the owner, but one of the partner of Minix, and they did say this one will be related to the release of his story. I don't know what happened. I need to speak to him. He's on holiday at the moment, because that's not his story to me.
No, that's cute. I think it's nice when collectibles come out and you've got something different that isn't like another T-shirt, another hoodie, another cap. It's like it's nice to actually have the Funko's back again, and the Minics, and just other things that aren't the standard Karen crap.
Yeah, speaking about that, Queen Studio released another dangerous. It's not crap. It looks amazing. Another like dangerous pose from the concert. The only problem with that is Karen gave the license to another studio, a damn toy studio, who's doing exactly the same plus a bust. And that was really well. That was announced in October this year.
Right.
So yeah.
That's got the thong that Charlotte loves so dearly.
Do you like that, Seb?
Well, this is the fourth one we're getting from Dangerous
No,
Tour.
she means the dangerous tour leotard.
You like it?
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, like, I never look
So
at
you're not fussed.
I don't look much to Michael's bum, to be honest. So I look at his face and
Fair enough.
No. Do not be a fence sitter. Do you like the leotard or not?
I'm not a fan.
Thank you. Thank you. Correct answer.
It's not the best costume. It's not the best costume.
Thank you. I said this. I said that the Dangerous Tour didn't have the best costumes, and Pez was really angry at me.
Well, hey, man, going anyway.
So, and then we also had the Off the Wall release, right?
So the Off the Wall was on August. Wow. I mean, like,
I know.
the anniversary was in August, and we got the announcement that Mobile Fidelity and the Hybrid SACD will be released. Unfortunately, you don't get them in August. You will not get them this year. You will get them next year.
It was so worth the announcement.
Speaking about the website, they released in February a tour capsule, which I think some of you might have actually purchased. It was dangerous, history, and bad. And then we got the nice picture of the new profile in August, if you remember. So in October, Karen decided to put that on a t-shirt. Bad choice.
I just feel like I'm the only person that doesn't like that picture.
What picture is it again?
The official profile picture.
Oh, I have no feelings about it.
Again, it's kind of like bad tour. Yay, bad tour, because we never moved past that. Okay, he's smiling, and it's like, again, it's all very cutesy and like, ooh, and I'm just not here for it. I don't.
Whenever I think of the profile picture, I think of the in the closet one that was that for fucking forever.
Where we were begging for it to change, and then they changed it to Thriller, but it was the Thriller through the peephole.
Yeah.
And now it's this, and it's like, oh, it's never anything like. I would love them to go in the archives and be like, bam, here's a picture you've never seen. Like, wow. And also when you think Michael Jackson and you think of his global audience, does this represent him in a way that screams like the biggest selling artist of all time? The answer is, of course, no. But it's like, yeah, I mean, we've been through this a million times. We'll go through it again next year, that it's like same old tripe. I just would like, something a bit more, something different.
Yeah, fair. The approach that I have to any merchandise, to be honest, is if I really want it, I'm getting it. I'm not good at denying myself stuff. If I want something, I'm buying it.
Girl after my own heart.
But I also don't have the feeling of like, oh, it's Michael, I need it. So it is totally down to my preference. Something when it came out, I was like, I need that, was the Diamond Celebration box set with all the picture vinyls. I loved that. Other than that, I can't think of anything. I mean, that was 2018. Other than that, like, up to very recently, I can't think of many things that I've seen and been like, I absolutely have to have that. I think the approach I take to merchandise has always been the same. But if there was a design or a particular picture or something that we had never seen before that I thought was cool, I would buy it. I think, to be honest, with the estate, standards aren't particularly high. So if it was something that, to be honest, was pretty much basic, it would probably seem amazing. I think things that are made by fans tend to be more my style.
Do you think next year, like obviously with the biopic coming out, there's the potential for like a market flood? Do you
Absolutely.
do you think we're gonna get Michael merch, or do you think we're gonna get biopic merch like Jafar on a mug and
Going,
Jafar
I
on a
think,
tote bag?
I think going by the way that the musical has been received, we get silhouettes, everything with the musical, and obviously that's their logo and that's their branding and whatever, but everyone knows it's Michael Jackson. Um, I think we're going to get biopic merch. I think what they would actually benefit from is, and it's funny because I always say I want more Michael, but I think the way that people are buying now, people are seeming to prefer subtle merchandise, so they don't want big faces on their t-shirts, and this could be totally to do with trend and everything else. People like a wee logo here or words. I think if they have a very, very good chance here to collaborate with brands and collaborate with, and I don't just mean like high-end brands, I think merch should be affordable for everybody. You have the option to purchase high-end if you want to, but I think they have an opportunity to here to create partnerships with brands who could really, really take off in terms of buying. And going by the past, and I hate to be this person, but it's only going by the past. I don't think they're going to capitalize on it the way they could.
It's total. No, you're totally right because where we've been looking so far is like you have to think of the type of audience that a biopic is going to appeal to. These are
Yeah.
people that are going to pay £15 to go, or even less in some cases, £10 to go to a cinema and see the film. In
Mm-hmm.
order for that to follow through, you need to price things in the price point of people that are going, your everyday
Yeah,
person that's going to a cinema to see this film. And that needs to be t-shirts in Primark or in lower end retail. This needs to be things accessible to your everyday person. You can do your high end shit if
absolutely.
you want, but you cannot encourage people to buy into Michael through a £10 movie that they're going to see and then say, that's great, but starting price for t-shirts is £75.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
does
it's
like
just,
you're not going to get the follow through
yeah,
if you then price everybody out of the market. And if they're smart, they will go, we need to. That's why This Is It was so well done in terms of like bravado because they had everyone went to see the movie at the cinema for £10 and then they could buy like a Michael t-shirt in HMV for 14.99.
yeah,
They could buy a mug on the website for 6.99. They could buy a tote bag in like a supermarket for £7. Do you know what I mean? It was like it was
absolutely.
accessible. If you then don't follow through with that, you're going to lose every bit of good kind of like
Yeah,
fan building that you
that
do
you
with
could
biopic.
create. Going by budget and stuff, the promo is going to should be everywhere. Like I'm talking, I want levels the way Barbie was last summer. Wicked is everywhere. You cannot bloody breathe within it, but you're within an inch of Wicked everywhere you go. I would love to think that the Michael biopic, given its budget, is going to be the same. Do I think it will be? Nah. Um, Going by the Michael merch we've had, I mean, our hopes are not high.
Yeah.
But I'd love to be wrong for once.
Seb, what would you like to see merch wise in 2025?
History merch because that's an anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we already had a calendar saying this is the celebration of history. I mean, come on, Karen.
Is
Yeah,
there
but we had it for the 20th anniversary, if you remember. We had a history calendar and nothing came.
is there
Well,
anything in particular you'd like to see? Like, do you want clothes or do you want like a box set or what? What would you choose?
well, I was hoping for a bit more because when I spoke to the Minix people, they were like, yeah, we're going to do a special history version. And then the Dangerous appeared. So I was like, don't know anything.
Yeah.
I think some sort of music set would be nice.
A
The
box set.
music, yeah, the music gets forgotten a lot by like the merch pushing.
I think a lot of the time now though, people just, it really is a collector thing. I think because of streaming and stuff, I think they just actually disregard it.
Universal was busy. I mean, Universal slash Motown because they released ABC Get Together and the Third Double and the Wiz on colored vinyls. And, why can we not have history back on vinyl? after all these years. The last time it was re-released was more for the picture disc.
Yeah, and even that was kind of it wasn't the same, was it? It wasn't the
No.
album. And I really think if you was to ask most fans and particularly collectors and even like newer fans, what they would want is history on vinyl.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it took us years to get Dangerous. Finally, they started producing Dangerous again. It was always bad Thriller Off the Wall.
Hmm.
And then finally Dangerous started to like sneak in the shops. I mean, we've got a high hope in hell of ever seeing Blood or Invincible again. But history would be a dream, wouldn't it? To just walk in and be able to see that
Definitely.
album. Especially with
And
biopic.
we know from Diana was who created the statue. The statue is marble.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Having the vinyl in marble will make
Yeah, that would be so cool.
Yeah, like the white marble edition and even like the gold edition. And they could do
Mhm.
like those are different because the whole coloured vinyl thing is really popular at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, white marble would look hot. But you know they wouldn't. You know they'd do grey. They'd go, oh, grey like the statue. It's like, it's not grey.
Mm.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, where do your hopes sit for a successful merchandise year next year?
one.
Oh.
Things can only get
Fair.
better, right?
Exactly. Surprise me, Karen.
Can my Karen do anything to entertain her king? And Karen's like,
Point to the lion.
yeah. Throw him to the lions.
The way she walked around Vegas, she might as well go to the Coliseum and say, throw them to the lion.
Yeah, literally, throw them out of Mandalay Bay. But they are not welcome here. Shah, anything you're hoping for next year?
I would love a successful merchandise campaign along with a biopic. That's honestly my number one wish. But don't know how I feel about
That
that.
will be the end of the year, to be honest, because if the biopic is released in October, we get merch for like October, November, December, and they will be dead.
I think we should. I think what the best thing they could possibly do is look at companies that are doing incredibly right now and collaborate with them. Like fucking TikTok. See the way these kids are obsessed with their bloody Stanley Cups. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Get a Michael Jackson Stanley Club.
Michael Jackson Stanley Cup. If you're going to talk about vitiligo in the biopic, maybe look team up with a makeup brand that
Yeah,
understands
like
vitiligo and
I just feel that they should be looking at brands that are doing incredibly well right now. What is on trend? And I know that following trends is controversial in the sense that it doesn't last forever, but this is how people buy right now.
it's
And
true, but at the same time, it's not the estate don't follow trends, but they don't even start trends either, or they don't
nah,
like
they
they
just
catch
kind
up
of
with
sit
trends.
somewhere at the middle and say, "Oh, help."
Yeah, they go, oh, here's this. You're like, right, thanks for that.
Anything's better than what we've got.
Or they don't go through with it. I mean, the capsule
Yeah.
story, that each single had a capsule, and then after Earth Song, we had fuck all.
No, we didn't even
Yeah.
get Earth Song. We had Screaming You Were Not Alone, and they gave up.
Yeah.
That was the History 25, the capsule collection.
I
They did the
know.
album, they did Scream, they did You Were Not Alone. And then because the other songs weren't released in America as mainstream singles, they dropped it because the rest of the world doesn't matter. And it was like, oh, okay, well,
Whatever.
yeah, as per usual. So we hold out no hope, but Seb, we will have you back
Yes.
on the channel next year to discuss whether we were right or wrong, and you can give us an update on merch that's coming because you are our merchandise oracle. I mean,
And for any news, follow mjwrap.com, where all that is there.
yes, true.
Yes.
YouTube.
And finally, before we finish for the new year, hold on, I'll do that again. And finally, before we have a toast to the new year, congratulations to you on the final book in the Ultimate Collector series as it currently
Woohoo!
stands, being released off the wall and selling out as well. So that's been a labour of love for over 10 years, and I'm obviously a witnessed firsthand how much work you've put into that. So congratulations on finally completing that portion of the Ultimate Collector book.
Congratulations, what an achievement.
It is a big chapter to turn, to be honest. It's thank God.
It means I can have more space in my house. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And I would say we'll see you soon, but I'll see you after we finish recording.
Get me dinner, bitch.
Right. See you soon.
Bye.
You have a challenge and I have a challenge for 2025.
Okay.
We have to change each other's minds on one thing next year.
I will make you, and I mean this, I will make you love You Rock My World the way I do. I will make that happen.
And I am going to get you to like Just Good Friends.
Okay, we can do that. This year we actually had a really exciting music challenge between us. Both of us chose an artist that we kind of explored, and we both really did gain newfound appreciations for each artist, and it was like a fun daily task we had, so we're open to learning.
And okay, so fine. We'll also do that for the Jacksons and the Jackson 5 with their albums in the new year.
That's
I'll
fine.
note that down. That's part of it. See, this is the thing. You come to one of our parties, you have a few drinks, and you end up leaving a better person than you came.
God, or people leaving like, I'm never going back.
No, but that's the thing. Like, I do think when we've had Michael parties, we party. I mean, do you remember the party we had in Burn This Disco Out in 2021?
Oh, we were all misbehaving. We had been locked in the house for far too long. Well, we have had such good memories, like especially in the last 4 or 5 years. We've done so much, and I really think that will continue into next year.
Go. So Shirley.
So Shirley, where are we? Shirley, where are we?
Are you being real?
Well, can you believe this is it? It's our last episode of the year. I would also like, actually, on that note, I would like for us to do some more MJ debate next year. We obviously have kind of had unintentional hiatuses, some through no fault of our own. But next year, let's hope that doesn't happen. Well, it can't. There's only us two fuckers left.
Hi, it's the big end about me, Char McLachlan.
Yeah, Pez is gone now. Right.
Right. On that wonderful note, I hope you and everybody else has an incredible new year.
Yes.
And if people are still bothering to tune in with us in 12 months' time, we'll be here reflecting on another great year. And so here's to a year so far.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Cheers. We should have done this bit first because honestly, I feel knackered and
I feel like a battered old slag.
oh! And we're out.